Hi there. Thank you for joining. My name is Jennifer Meyer. I'm a licensed professional counselor in Fort Collins, Colorado, as well as a certified Fisher Rebuilding Seminars facilitator. And this video is just a brief overview of 10 of the 19 rebuilding blocks that I will be teaching in my upcoming rebuilding seminar. So this seminar is based on these two books that I have listed here, and the author of the Rebuilding Workbook, Will Limon, is actually the person who trained me to be a facilitator. So I hope that you'll join. This rebuilding seminar is a 10-week, 30-hour program for healing from relationship loss, which includes divorce, breakups, even death of a partner. So learn to turn the end of your relationship into a time of self-awareness, healing, and incredible growth. Over 600,000 people have already completed the rebuilding seminar and grown immensely from it. In fact, people that have completed this are shown to have grown over 10 weeks, what it generally takes a person a year to grow from on their own. This is just a graphic of the 19 rebuilding blocks that are part of this original model. And the rebuilding blocks model in its entirety shows these 19 different feelings and attitudes. And they're just arranged in a pyramid to symbolize the mountain that we must climb to heal from relationship loss or divorce. So just think about this as a map to help you climb this difficult mountain. And we look at this in terms of climbing from the bottom, starting out in fear and denial, and climbing up to the ultimate goal is freedom. So before we can do any real work on self-growth and recovering from divorce, we have to confront denial. We really can't make any changes until we acknowledge that this thing has happened and that it's been very painful. For a lot of people going through divorce, this may be the most emotionally difficult period of their entire lives. And so a natural pain response that we have is to go into denial because it's just so painful. And so part of the process of this rebuilding seminar is to look at that and to try to find acceptance with what has happened so that we can put those pieces back together. So the adaptation rebuilding block we will be covering on the second night, and adaptation refers to basically the way that we've adapted from childhood. And a lot of times we adapt in a way that isn't helpful for our romantic relationships. So an example of this is if we learn in childhood to be over-responsible and we're taught to take care of our siblings, and sometimes we take care of our parents. Generally speaking, what we'll do then is seek out an under-responsible partner because we're so used to that role of being over-responsible. So part of this night when we're working through adaptation is looking at those patterns, recognizing those about ourselves, and then learning how to change that so that we can find a partner who's more fitting for us. A lot of times when I work with clients individually and also in rebuilding seminars, they're not fully aware that what they're feeling is grief. We generally associate grief with the loss of a person, like a death. But if you think about divorce and relationship loss, a lot of times we're not just losing that person. Sometimes we're losing time with our children. Sometimes we lose our home. A lot of times we lose the relationship with our in-laws, and sometimes with those couples' friends. And so grief is happening usually on a pretty intense level. So part of being able to deal with grief effectively is being able to feel it. And so if we try to avoid feeling grief, it'll creep up on us, and it's really important to cleanse that. So one example of cleansing grief is it might be that you look at a photo or memories of you and your ex in your relationship and feel that grief for a short period of time, and then to kind of shift out of that, maybe set a timer and start doing something that's helpful for you and shifts your emotional state. Anger is a normal and healthy part of the divorce process, and a lot of times it's the first thing that comes to mind for people because sometimes there's betrayal, sometimes we didn't see divorce coming, but in general, when it comes to divorce, Anger can be very helpful because it helps us set boundaries, and anger is also energizing, so it can give us the energy to get through things. But it's important that we don't stay in anger, particularly anger about the past and anger about that relationship that we've lost. So part of the rebuilding seminar is we start looking at healthy ways of expressing anger and assertiveness, and we also look at ways to figure out what's underneath anger, such as hurt, fear, or betrayal, and we learn to tackle those. With the transition rebuilding block, what we're looking at is trying to understand why our relationship ended. And the importance of this is sometimes we get into relationships when we haven't really fully formed as a person. So a lot of times we're still in what's called the shell stage, which means that we're following all of the rules and the expectations of what our parents wanted for us, and we haven't individuated enough yet to know who we truly are. The rebel stage is similar to that because we're still being influenced by our parents. We're just doing the opposite of that. So the eventual goal is to be in the loving acceptance stage, which is where we feel as fully formed as we possibly can be, and we're ready to apply that to our relationships. As you know, if you've gone through divorce, you understand just how much it can impact and tank your self-worth. So a big piece of this, we'll spend an entire night on ways to rebuild self-worth by changing self-image. We'll talk a lot about what you do want in your life and what you don't, and work on creating relationships and boundaries that help you protect higher self-worth and you take care of yourself in a better way. The openness rebuilding block is all about trying to remove the masks that we wear. A lot of times when we meet someone and we start dating, we might be wearing a mask to try to hide who we really are and try to appear that we're someone else, someone that we like better. The problem with masks is that they make it really tough for us to connect on a deeper level. And so if part of our mask is saying, I'm fine, I don't need anything, I don't need any help, what I call the stoic mask, is it really removes people from being able to be there for you and connect with you on a deeper, more vulnerable level. So we'll be talking about what mask you might wear and how that might get in the way of you having deeper, more connected relationships. Sometimes when we're going through divorce, friendship can change quite a bit. A lot of times when we're coupled up, we have other friends that are couples, and so sometimes people just are not sure what to do with us when we're going through divorce. So that can be one of the losses that we also experience that creates grief. So one of the important things to do as you're going through relationship loss is to start making some friends with people that understand it and have been there. And that's why the rebuilding seminars are so awesome, because it creates a little bit of that support system with other people that actually understand it. And part of this process when we look at friendship is we'll be talking about what you're looking for in a friend. Sometimes during divorce we become very needy. And that's okay, but we also have to learn how to give to other friends as well. And we just start talking about what friendship looks like, because ultimately friendship is the basis for any quality relationship, including a romantic relationship. This rebuilding block is all about learning what love actually is in a relationship. And the way we start doing this is by loving ourselves and accepting ourselves, including kind of warts and all, every part of us, and learning to do that so that we can take care of ourselves, not betray ourselves, and be true to ourselves first and foremost before we can love someone else. A lot of times when you're going through divorce, the thought of becoming sexual with someone new after all that time you spent married can be really terrifying. And so part of this rebuilding seminars, we'll talk about the 3 stages of sexuality and what it looks like to go out into the dating world prepared with kind of what your values are and what you're looking for in terms of touch and sexuality. Last but not least, we have at the top of that pyramid that we looked at earlier is freedom. The ultimate goal after divorce recovery is rebuilding and freedom. Freedom to be fully yourself. And by working through these rebuilding blocks that we'll be doing together, the goal is to rebuild a more fulfilled life and more meaningful relationships for the future. So there you have it, the overview of 10 of the 19 rebuilding blocks after relationship loss. And I sure hope that you'll join me. For more information, you're welcome to call me. There's a link here on this page. You can reach out to me in any way, and I'd love to answer any questions that you have. And I sure hope that you'll join us. Take care.